1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 8.
Welcome to NHL Quick Hits. I'm David Crosby, joined by Steele Roden, and what a crazy night it was in the NHL on Thursday. We've got a lot to cover, so we're going to do something a little bit different and play a speed round. Steele, I'm going to hit you with a stat. You tell me the first word that comes to your mind. Mika Zibanejad joined Wayne Gretzky as the only two players to ever score 2 natural hat tricks and have 3 or more assists both games. Zibanejad, by the way, did it 9 days apart, both against the Flyers.
Yeah, the first word I have that comes to mind is exceptional. The second word is undervalued. This guy is making $5.35 million on a New York Rangers team that they're paying Jacob Trouba $8 million. This guy can do everything that the rest of the top players in this league can do. He's fast. He's great with his hands. He has great hand-eye coordination. He has a wicked shot from what we call Alexander Ovechkin's office on the left-hand side. This guy does everything that top players do, and he doesn't get the recognition that they do. He has 15 points in his last 5 games, 12 points, like you said, in the 2 games against the Flyers. This guy is just an all-around all-star.
After allowing 5 goals on 11 shots in that 8-3 loss to the Rangers, Philadelphia goalie Carter Hart is 2-6 with an .815 save percentage in the month of March.
Yeah, the word that comes to mind is heartbreaking. I feel really bad for Carter Hart right now, and it's not to say that this is all his fault. You know, his defenseman came out after in the post game yesterday and said that they've been letting their goalies down. They've been getting beat really badly in front of the net, and that makes them look really worse. But Carter Hart, Carter Hart has just been really struggling in March, and it's sad to see such a young, talented goaltender in his 3rd year struggle this bad. You know, in 2019-20 season, he was 24-13-3 with a 2.42 goals against average. Now he's 8-9-3 with a 4.04 goals against average. It's just not something you like to see right now. And, you know, to me, it's just very heartbreaking. I think a lot of people had the Flyers, you know, in the top of their division this year.
I think at least it's promising to see the team and at least the fans for now seem to be backing him and have faith that he can turn it around. But let's go over to a little bit of a better story. In Nashville's 7-1 win over Detroit, it was their 5th victory in their last 6 games. By the way, that coming shortly after I wrote them off for this season. But Rocco Grimaldi had 4 goals, including a hat trick in just 2 minutes and 34 seconds, Steele.
Yeah, the first word that comes to mind is special. And I'm not talking about the player. I'm talking about the night. This is a player, again, not overly talented. I think his highest career points in a season is 33 points. So far this season, he only has 8 points in 30 games for the Nashville Predators, 4 of which were last night, and he was on a 16-game goalless and point drought. So not an overly talented player. I think he's going to remember that night for a very, very long time. Like I said, 8 points on the season so far. Nothing overly special about this guy, but a special night for sure.
Well, speaking of special, Sidney Crosby had 3 assists in Pittsburgh's 4-0 shutout of Buffalo, becoming the 8th fastest player in NHL history to reach 1,300 points.
There's a lot of words I can describe Sidney Crosby with. The one I went with was incredible. He's just an incredible player, and he's been incredible throughout his entire career. He's only 33 years old, and he's averaged 1.28 points per game over his entire career. I think that's just phenomenal. It's incredible. To me, he's a top 3 player right now that has ever played the game of hockey with Mario Lemieux and Wayne Gretzky. He's a top 3 player in my opinion.
On the other side of that 4-0 loss, the Sabres' winless streak is now at 16 games.
Garbage. That's the only word that comes to mind. Just garbage.
Well, Rasmus Dahlin is last in the NHL in plus minus at minus 32. And to put this in perspective, arguably their best 5 players, excluding the injured Jack Eichel, who hasn't played much this season, that would be Dahlin, Victor Olofsson, Sam Reinhart, Taylor Hall, and Eric Stahl, are a combined minus 111 right now. That is almost impossible. It is so bad halfway through the season. But let's move on from Buffalo. We've beat them down enough over the past month. The Wild's 2-0 shutout of the Blues extended their franchise record home win streak to 11 games.
The word that comes to mind is legit. And you and I had a conversation a couple weeks ago on one of our previous podcasts or episodes. This team is legit. I actually gave them a little bit of an edge downward where I said Colorado and Vegas are still the better teams. Even though I still believe that, they're only a little bit better right now. They're 2 points out of the first spot in their division. They play really, really hard and really, really good against the Avalanche and the Vegas Golden Knights. They're a very legit team. They're 34-14 in goals for and goals against in that 11 home game win streak right now, as well. 4 shutouts in the last 8 games at home as well. They just dominate when they're on their home ice. Not to say that they can't win again when they're away from home, but again, they like to be at their home ice. They like the atmosphere there, and they get the job done.
Yeah, something special is happening down in Minnesota. 15-4-1 in their last 20 games. It doesn't seem to matter which goalie is in net right now. They're just getting the job done. Let's move over to another legend of the game. Alex Ovechkin scored for the 8th time in his past 9 games in Washington's 4-3 win over New Jersey.
I think everyone can agree that this is the word that comes to mind when they think about Alexander Ovechkin, and that's explosive. This guy, he can sometimes get in a 2-3 game goalless drought, but then when he gets that goal, he just starts firing on all cylinders, and he just starts racking them up quickly. And it's not just his shot, it's his hands, it's his speed, it's his power. They're all just explosive, and that makes him such an incredible player. Again, 24 games left in the season. He needs 10 to catch up to Marcel Dion, and I think he gets 11, and he passes him for 5th all time.
Well, a little pat on the back for you, Steele. A few episodes ago, you said that Ovechkin was going to finish with 20-some goals in the last 28 games of the season. I wasn't so sure he was going to get it done, but it looks like he is right on pace to do that, or maybe even better right now. On our last story, Dougie Hamilton's assist in Carolina's 4-3 win over Columbus tied him with Austin Matthews for the longest point streak this season at 13 games.
Norris Trophy. That's the word that comes to mind. And I don't get why a lot of people have Cale Makar as the front runner for the Norris Trophy this season. I'm not saying that he shouldn't be in the conversation, but I don't think he's the front runner. I think I've seen a lot of better defensemen over in the other divisions, Dougie Hamilton being one of them, as well as Victor Hedman. 33 points in 33 games for Victor Hedman, but Dougie Hamilton, 26 points in 33 games, excuse me. He's just been lights out for the Carolina Hurricanes. Like you said, 13-point game streak, 26 points this season. So many guys are deserving of the Norris Trophy this year, but those are my top 2 guys right now, Victor Hedman and Dougie Hamilton.
Something to definitely keep an eye on in Carolina. I think if he extends this for another 4 games, he's not just going to have the longest point streak by a defenseman in Carolina history. It's going to be of any player that has ever played for that franchise. So I'm pulling for Dougie Hamilton to get that done. But that's going to do it for our first ever edition of the Speed Round. On behalf of Steele Roden, I'm David Crosby, and thanks for tuning in to NHL Quick Hits.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.